Hi everyone, it's Jerry from Attic Treasures in Occoquan. Happy 2017, and it's time to do a new project. I hope everyone had a good holiday. I'm extra happy. We have a new addition to our family. Her name is Lily, and she's the cute little brown tabby kitten, and I've had a lot of fun playing with her. She's very playful and adorable. I've got all my Christmas stuff put away and I'm ready to sew again. So this is a great little project to get started with. And this is just a little Valentine card that I've made, and it's done with red work. Actually, it's just digitized it with red work, and it actually was just black and white. Or actually I used red thread and black thread, and I've embellished it how I liked. So, and I'm ready to put my message here on the inside. And it looks very nice and cute. So this is a good project to get started for the new year. So here's what you're going to need. Okay, here's the supplies you need for this project. You're going to need some cardstock, and you want to pick a good quality cardstock that's got a lot of rag content in the paper. That way the paper is less likely to break and tear as you're stitching. You need an envelope, and I folded my card in half, and I made sure that it fits in my envelope. If it does not, then crop it. Okay, then you're going to fold it in half like this, and you're going to find the center, and for that I'm just going to use a ruler, and I'm going to use a friction pen, but you want to make the mark just as tiny as you possibly can. So here I'm going to measure this and here's the center. I'm going to use the friction pen. I usually wouldn't use this. I'd just make a tiny dot, because I don't want to see this after I'm done. Okay, and right there's my center. Okay, and it's a little brighter than you need. Okay, now this design is going to fit in a 5x7 hoop. So you need your 5x7 hoop. You're going to need some cutaway stabilizer. You also need some adhesive spray, a rotary cutter, and you're going to need a piece of fabric to cover the back of your stitching on your card, about an inch less. You want to measure it about maybe a half an inch or so less than the rim of your card, because it's going to go on the inside. You don't want to see that ugly stitching when you're done. So, and if you like, you can actually, before you stitch it, you can take this to your printer on your computer and write in whatever message you want on the inside before you fold it in half. So you can do that. I'm not going to. So I'm going to just hoop my stabilizer. I'll put the card away. I'm just hooping the stabilizer. There we go. And make sure it's well seated and nice and tight. You can spray it using the 505 spray, and then you can stick your card down into the center. However, I'm going to, for added assurance, I'm going to use my Magna Hooper, which is by Designs and Machine Embroidery. We carry them over at Attic Treasures in Occoquan. You could probably get it from almost any of the embroidery machine dealers. To use this, place the insert inside. I'll open up my card, put it this way, sort of center it as best I can. Put the plastic inlay on the top. Center it in there pretty good, and make sure it's as straight. And I need the magnets. There they are. I just use the magnets to help hold it down. Okay. Okay. Oh, what I was going to tell you about this one little piece of the backing fabric. What you want to do is just use either a pinking shears or those rotary cutters that have a little crinkled cut in order to make the edge a little nicer. So now we're ready to go to the machine. I have loaded my design into the machine, and I have loaded my bobbin with bobbin weight embroidery thread in white. Doesn't have to keep changing the colors unless you want to. I just clipped in my hoop. Okay, so I'm using one of my older machines, which is the Allure Plus, and it's a very nice machine. So here's the setup. It doesn't have a top thread stand like my Elegante does, but I've been using this external thread stand. And if you don't have a top thread stand, these are really nice because they're cheap, they're heavy, and you can put even a big cone, even a great big cone like this will fit. Now what I'm going to do is center this design. Now this one I can't seem to turn that light off like I can the other machine, so it may seem a little bright to you. Okay, so if you have an older machine, or if you have the Sophia or several of the new machines, then you want to go ahead and this is how I'm going to center it. There's a button here. I'll go ahead. Let me go back. Okay, I'm loading the design. Here's the design I want to use. I'm going to hit adjust. I want to go to layout, which is right there. Then I'm going to move these arrow keys until the needle hits right exactly in the dead center of that square. So here I'm going to use those arrow keys. And line up this needle. Don't drop your needle into the machine, just on top, because you don't want a hole in your card where you don't want it to be. Okay, so it's ready to go. It's exactly in the center. Okay, so here we go. Now what I'm going to do is just let it stitch. Another thing I might do is actually lower the tension in the needle a little bit so that there's not quite so much pull. And how I do that on this machine, so I'm going to return again, and I'm going to hit this little button right here that has the little scissors and the little weaving and the little zigzag. That gives me my settings, and I want to drop that tension down to about 3.6. Okay, let's start sewing. Okay, I'm going to be using black thread for my outline because I'm going to be coloring this in, but you could use any color you like. Now, if you can't put just any design on a card because paper tears. So the stitches have to be a little bit further apart. You don't want to do satin stitches. It really doesn't make a very nice job. Here's what happened when I used a design that was not digitized for a card. And see what happens is, see how that's breaking through. So it perforated all the way through. So that's not one I want to use. So anyway, I've digitized this one. If you'd like the design, then contact me at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to send you a copy of this design. Okay, let's get stitching. Okay, this is also a little bit noisier than my other machine. You also might want to slow down your machine. I have this slowed down to about 600 stitches per inch. Now this machine doesn't automatically clip the jump stitches, so if you see one starting, you want to stop your machine and clip those stitches as they're formed, so that they don't get woven in into the other stitching. So I will take that out as we go along. I switched my needle thread to red to do the lettering on this card. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch that out. I'm going to speed it up as I go along, and then you need to make sure that you're going to cut those jump stitches as they're being formed so that the stitching doesn't catch any loose threads. Okay, go. Okay, so we're done stitching it now, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the hoop from the machine. And I'm going to remove the card from the frame, so I'll just take the magnets off. Remove this. And I'll just pop that off. I'll carefully remove the card from the frame, and I'll set it aside. Now on the back, I'm going to trim away this excess stabilizer, and I'm going to trim away all of these extra little extraneous little threads and just get them out of the way. You don't want to tear away this stabilizer if you have used a tearaway. It's preferably to use a cutaway, but the tearaway will work also. But okay, and I'm going to just clip all of these extra little jump stitches. I'm going to just get a sharp pair of scissors, and they all come off rather readily. I'm going to take all of these little bits out, and I'm going to remove this mark. Since I used a friction pen, I'm actually going to take an iron, and just the heat of the iron will make it go away. I've removed all of the jump stitches from the front, all the little tiny ones, and removed the center mark. And I'm going to cover this back so I can hide all these stitches, and I'm going to cover it with this 4.5 inch by 7 inch piece of fabric that I've applied some adhesive spray. So I'm just going to center this right over the stitching and press it down. Now this card is ready to give as it is. You can actually print in your own message over here if you like, or you can actually embellish this thing. We can make it a lot prettier. You can use all kinds of things. I can use Sharpie markers, felt markers, crayons, colored pencils. These Tusanico ink markers work really well. Here is even some stamp pad ink that I'm going to use, this little scumbling tip thing that I got with the Tusanico inks. So I'm just going to go ahead and decorate this. So I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera, and I'll show you what I've come up with for the final product. Okay, it's all finished, and I've embellished it with my markers and the inks, and it's ready to be put into an envelope and given away. So if you have any questions, give us a call at Attic Treasures in Occoquan, Virginia at 703-490-1536. Or you can email me directly at waltzquilt@yahoo.com. If you want a copy of the PES file for embroidering your own card, then just give me an email request at waltzquilt@yahoo.com. Okay, until next month, see you later, and happy 2017. Bye.